Was it a fluke? Was it Most Wanted completely just taking that game and running with it? We're going to have to find out here at Picks and Bans for Game 2 coming at you. SoaR versus Most Wanted. Most Wanted took the first game. It's up to SoaR to go ahead and step back up and show us their synergy.
So, the Odin pick was great into the composition, and I don't think either team had a bad composition. I think they were both fine and did their own things. I think just the decision making from SoaR and them probably missing a couple abilities in those early fights is really what swung everything too crazily. The Odin pick though didn't really have a lot of effectiveness, and I think there wasn't even focus on the Odin like I thought Most Wanted would do. Instead, they just focused out the Isis.
I mean, if it works, it works.
I still think that was dangerous to pick the Chalk and the Jingwei at the end there, but it's okay.
Just a little bit, but they made it work. It was good communication coming out all around the board for Most Wanted. Now with SoaR, I feel like the comp worked on paper, but it was the execution, like you mentioned, that didn't necessarily work. But the bans coming out, Rob and Nim, Thor and Ao Kwong, leaving open the Guan Yu.
And this is more than likely going to go to the duo lane. We see Brochacho kind of prefer this over them putting it in the hands of Uzzy. I think Guan Yu a little bit more effective that way. Obviously in the solo lane, it's great when you hit level 20 before everyone, and Conviction is really good. But the issue is that you're going to get bullied out of that lane a lot, which is what we kind of saw in that last match where Wolves got the solo kill, also rotated team fights, got an extra kill while Uzzy died, and just like that full right side of the map just belonged to Most Wanted at that time. No more speed buffs, no more blue buffs for you.
Look at that. They let them get Terra and Zeus again.
The Zeus, it just seemed more of an execution. I don't think they were too worried about the composition. I just think their decision-making in those early games was a little bit off. And that might be because you have Isis Susano. You do not want to fall behind on those gods, because we saw what happens when you do fall behind on an Isis. So it is okay to make those decisions, go like, we feel like we still need to be aggressive here. We feel like we can still fight. Obviously, we have a lot of CC to chain on Zeus. They just weren't able to get it together at the same moments.
Last picks coming out from SoaR before we get to the next bans, Susano and Raijin. We didn't get to see Raijin. He got banned out early on, and that's going to be going into a Thor coming out from Most Wanted. Odin.
And the Raijin here, much safer than an Isis. So even if you get picked off early, if a fight doesn't go your way, you still have options. With Isis, you just keep dying. It's like an Ares. Like, you got nothing to do, especially against a Ratatosker who's going to be able to knock you up unless you wing gust exactly when it's coming down. But the Odin pick for Most Wanted, I love it. Actually stripping the Odin away from what SoaR ran last time, and now a solid counter to both Susano and more specifically Guan Yu.
Yeah, Guan Yu's not going to be able to get out of that. You can force out his ultimate, but I mean, you're not going to be able to sustain the team fight if that happens inside there. But last bans, Freya, Sol, Kronos, Jingwei.
All the magical hunters.
That is all the magical hunters.
XCynoSure going back to his tried and true Naja. This is a player that likes to set up potential. Also synergizes incredibly well with Zeus. Maybe not as clean as some of the other mages, but there's a lot of guaranteed damage when you land. There's a little bit of timing as well when Naja kind of hits the ground, then kind of knocks up, and if you got the lightning storm, you're guaranteed at least 2 stacks. If you hit the chain lightning as well, that's 3 stacks. The detonate comes through. Way too much for most players to kind of tank 100-0.
So we're going to take what I said earlier, we're going to ball it up, and we're going to throw it in the trash, because Athena has been picked up by SoaR Gaming, Yi as well. So more than likely a Guan Yu solo.
Probably. I mean, we've seen Athena recently kind of be played in multiple roles, but unlikely here. The XBalanque last pick as well, going for that other global in the duo lane. It's always dangerous to have the other team have a global in the duo and you don't, just because a lot of fights aren't centered around the hunters in the early game. They're typically just going to be there farming. There's a couple gods like the Neath, like the XBalanque, like the Apollo that can be an impact. And so if one team has an impact from the duo lane, you definitely want someone else to have an impact as well.
All 5 members of Most Wanted pushing deep, placing a ward down at the Fire Giant spot, as well as that little clutch point, but not really going to see any aggression coming out, which is smart from both teams at this point. We saw how that early aggression got them bit in the butt earlier on.
Yeah, unfortunate for Uzzy there to have to level up. I believe it was his
72 transformations.
His escape. But Sun Wukong 72, not Erlang Shin's.
No, he's got
I'm just
2.
waiting for all 72 transformations to be released.
That would be so incredibly hard to target. I'd
you're saying one god with all 72?
Yeah, no, that would be awful. Me sitting here trying to channel the 34 and I accidentally hit the 52. I mean, come on.
What if it was like a lane wide? Like what if it expanded, like doubled the length of it? That you would have to. How are you gonna fit 32 slots into that one bar?
Let's not
or
talk
72, not 32.
Let's not talk about that nightmare. Instead, SoaR Gaming Most Wanted standard starts coming out. Seeing a little bit of defense coming out from SoaR Gaming on that Raijin instead of what we saw last game.
Just going for the helmet, and the same with the Zeus. So you could see Clow here, despite having a really good game last time, wanting to go more the defensive route, and that might just because up against a Susano and a Raijin who has a little bit more confirmed damage, he feels like he's going to be pressured out. Where last game, him and Radiskowski felt very confident in the early game clear.
I mean, I feel like Raijin looking pretty confident right now, sitting on the very outskirt of that shield, knowing that nothing's going to happen to him as long as it keeps his positioning good. So, I mean, I like it for StormyRays.
Well, the difference is obviously Isis, Wing Gust, she's got to be right up close to the melees where Raijin can kind of hang out to the side and still get that full clear. Isis is a little bit more dangerous into the shield. You don't want to take early stacks. You could see Zeus level detonate second if you get 3 stacked in the lane. And a nice little side juke there from Stormy, just making sure to juke that ring toss, because this is the double bounce comp, and that's something you have to be very aware of at mid-harpy fights, having the Naja ring and Chain Lightning. If both of you are next to each other and you get hit by that, that's like half your life right away. You always got to be cognizant of it.
No, thank you. But I like the start that Most Wanted have already gone for. They took the Fire Imps, they took the right mid-harpies.
Oh, wow.
SoaR took left, but that was it.
Yeah, it's been pretty even there, but that was brutal. It's such a small thing, but so important. SoaR actually reset the back harpies twice, which means they were late to their mid lane, which means they lost some gold under the tower. Same with experience, and that allowed Most Wanted to steal away their backs without any congestion. Now they're going to notice it's going to happen, but this may not be the best fight for them to take. I like how split up SoaR are right now.
Yeah, and xCynosurex not looking so good right now. The Thunder Crash taking quite a bit of damage. xCynosurex trying to get away.
Chapo can chase this by himself.
Yeah, definitely, he can. He's looking for the purification just to make sure that he doesn't get slowed out by the detonate. But here comes the sash. But Chapo gonna find the first blood, chasing it hard.
And look at this, Clow way out of position, no boots either. You can see the rotation coming from Matt Koiz though, making sure he's gonna be safe. And Athena quickly dashes away, but SoaR Gaming played that perfectly. Actually coming in late ended up helping them because they recognized exactly where Most Wanted were. He's fine. There's no issue there. Even if he gets tagged, he's probably gonna escape. Clow not enough mana, and Detonate not leveled up enough.
I got scared.
But you actually saw them split up in the jungle to make sure against the double bounce comp, if you're close enough and you get chained back and forth, you're just going to lose that fight. Instead, they forced xCynosurex to try and make a choice, and Most Wanted couldn't pick who they wanted to go onto. They kept switching their choices.
Chacho getting double teamed here. Both ultimates being spent from Odin and Naja. Here she comes down, and there she goes. Wolves getting credit for that kill, but xCynosurex once again getting pushed out by Chapo. Uzzy coming in as well with the Talent Assault. That might be another kill.
No, just enough. The Xbalanque ult coming in big there. Could be trouble for Uzzy. One more hit. The shield's going to confirm the kill. He's way too slow to escape out of the radius, while the rest of Most Wanted push forward into SoaR's jungle. Chapo takes out xCynosurex. Still not level 5. There's been so much action going on. If they were, StormyRays and Chapo probably just win this engagement, but for now, trying to get close to a wall, the Thunder Crash away, and Chapo just there to distract.
Cue the Benny Hill music. That was a little too close for comfort coming out from SoaR Gaming. Most Wanted, I mean, they probably could have found the picks if they dived a little bit harder. The jukes were kind of real with SoaR, but they burned a lot of relics. That purification going to be down as well.
For another 140 seconds, yeah, SoaR going very aggressive there in the jungle. At only level, if they're level 5, that's a great dive, but instead, there was so much action going on in their own jungle earlier that they weren't able to farm up effectively, so they didn't hit their ultimates yet.
They didn't have the buttons to push, unfortunately for them. We would have seen a lot more kills had that happened, but Most Wanted coming back from a rotation from the mid-harpies and looking to set a little bit more aggression in the mid lane.
Most Wanted recovering very nicely overall. Obviously, SoaR Gaming getting that first blood and, you know, that extra little boost in bounty, but having those back RP stripped away as well as SoaR Gaming just being so focused on fights and not able to farm that they've been able to neutralize, to actually find a slight gold lead themselves, about 200 to 300.
I mean, they're trying to really stick hard to their own camp. SoaR Gaming had a little taste of victory early on in this game. They don't want to give them any more leeway. So we're seeing very deliberate rotations to make sure they put these camps and these mid-harpies on priority.
Ooh, that was a little bit awkward there. A taunt in the mid lane here. Uzzy Almost soloed. The shield not going to be enough, and the jump just short as well. Uzzy, oh, that could pay for his life. Athena ult on top, barely escaped getting soloed 2 games in a row.
A little bit of extra protections there, but it would have whipped either way. He was fine, but had to be careful. StormyRays walking right into that, and instead, I mean, nobody's going to follow up, but that's just one of those things you wish they didn't see.
Also, was Transonics ult up when that engagement first went on? Because if he had used that ult while the cage, like right as the cage ended, that would have been a guaranteed kill for Wolves. Unfortunate there.
I don't know if he had it up or not. We haven't seen it yet.
I'm going to assume it wasn't up, because I think it was used when SoaR were diving deep into the jungle.
Oh, that's right, yes.
So I'm going to assume that it had, it just came up and he was just trying to see if there was a chance they could chase him down.
Otherwise, that timing would have been perfect, as you mentioned. Chapo taking a little bit of damage from Zeus, but it's just been little pokes. After we had those couple of fights, it's been just little poking opportunities, slow burns.
Well, I think SoaR are coming at this game with a different mindset. Last game, they were just trying to fight repeatedly. This time, it's much of the same, but they're safer while doing it, because not only do they have the Thunder Crash onto the Raijin, but they also have the Athena ult now. And so even if there's a fight that doesn't go their way, they could potentially have that extra member involved.
Well, the comps are safer. I wouldn't say the play has been safer
no,
quite
that's
yet.
Fair. That's fair.
We saw that debacle over at the buff earlier on.
We saw the invade into the back harpies and then the counter invade onto the speed buff by SoaR. Okay, fair enough.
But a little bit of damage coming out. I'm not really expecting much from this solo lane quite yet. Guan, you're going to be able to heal himself up, and Odin is just pretty dang tanky and then can negate into healing if he needs to throw down that ult.
Well, we also have seen Guan die once, Uzzy. Obviously in that engagement that went on to the right, and once again, Wolves is just abusing that situation. He's got about a 600 gold lead, trying to solo Uzzy every single chance he gets, and that's actually forced a lot of SoaR Gaming to pay attention to this right side of the map.
Sash into the dash, I love it. Here he comes down into the Typhoon, beautiful, but we have the ultimate coming out from Zeus as well, looking to get a little bit extra damage, but the detonate not going to finish anybody off. Instead, it's going to be 2 down for SoaR Gaming, and MOR Wolves going to be the receiving end of at least one of those.
Speed buff going to be stolen away as well. Stormy barely gets out of there. And I mean, that was actually a really good counter engage from SoaR. You saw the cage come down, or you saw actually the Athena get in a little bit of trouble. Then we saw Susano pull 2 people. And then actually over the wall, StormyRays hits his ultimate onto multiple targets. But once again, it's just so close to killing people, but not enough damage.
And that's really good coming out for xCynosurex, because he's already suffered 2 deaths, able to finally take down Chapo. Give him a little bit of the run for the money there. Uzzy going to be fine.
I mean, he's got to be pretty careful here. This could be the repeat of game 1. Uzzy once again taking 2 deaths early, while Wolves has 3 kills and assists. This is very similar to the Chalk game, and you know what Wolves loves to do when he gets a lead, and it's rotate and invade your jungle and try and kill you 1v1 at all points. Instead, SoaR actually getting aggressive here.
Yep, gonna come around onto the speed buff. StormyRays is here as well, waiting to bring out some of that Raijin damage, but here comes the cage. No healing involved there. Raiju gonna be dashing around just a bit, but Chaco gonna be taking a little bit of damage.
It's gonna be a chase too. The cage probably gonna be coming up soon here. Wolves trying to close the gap onto Stormy. His Thunder Crash is down, just comes back up, trying to escape right now, but the speed buff on xCynosurex gonna be able to close the gap. Stormy's not gonna be able to get out of this one.
No.
And this could be an issue because Chapo trying to save him, but there's no way for him to get out. Chapo very low, and he actually dashes straight into xCynosurex, who's gonna chase him under tower. The counter ult from Susano going aggressive onto Wolves. Nice dash back from Chapo as well, but he's still gonna fall to the ring bounce.
The dash, but the ring toss is what took him out. It's unfortunate, but Koiz a little too tanky. That support fight wouldn't really go anywhere at that point.
I'm just really confused on why SoaR went aggressive there. It would have made more sense if they had all their ultimates up. Instead, the only ult they actually had was Athena's, which is completely useless if she's in the center of a fight.
Yeah.
If you actually bait the Terra over to mid, or maybe even to the left-hand side, and then ult over, you can utilize that numbers advantage. But instead, trying to take straight-up advantages when their Athena's only level 6 was a little bit misguided, I think. Obviously, they were trying to force anything, get a little bit of a lead, because Most Wanted didn't have their ults up as well, but they just had no escape option once that Odin cage came back up.
So pretty soon, we're going to be seeing Despair and Transonics join these team fights on the Huyi and the XBalanque, respectively. What can we expect?
I mean, it's a little bit different here as Most Wanted
Oh,
Actually going to go aggressive again. They're going to find one player up into the sky here. Try to take out the Athena and the Zeus ult. It's just going to be enough on the landing. Raijin there only has tier 1 of Cloak, just constantly abused. And Wolves still trying to force these 1v1s with this 2-level lead.
Uzzy taking chunks of damage from Wolves while Most Wanted preoccupy their time at the Gold Fury. Already down less than half. It's probably down quickly. There's nothing here for them. So instead, that's going to be a free Gold Fury.
You could see SoaR responding, and xCynosurex actually going very aggressive, trying to find the counter invade or counter initiate, you know, just trying to body block and zone him out. But I mean, SoaR just took a little bit too long to get there instead. Maybe thinking that Most Wanted didn't have the damage to kill that as fast as they did. And once again, this has opened up the opportunities for xCynosurex to invade on the right-hand side with Uzzy being pushed back.
xCynosurex is going to be able to take that speed camp, but here comes the XBalanque ultimate. Taiko drums, but they're not going to be able to lock anybody down. Into the Typhoon they go, and then getting slowed out by Wolves. Chapo can't compete.
Just SoaR continuously trying to take these fights, and it's just not working. They're too split up. Uzzy very low as well in the rotation. Clow, no health, still pushing forward. He has nothing to worry about. And the left-hand side, Despair's taken care of, and it's only Raijin in the front. Doesn't have the damage. Also going to get picked off here in a second. Can't get his dash online. Tier 1 aggressed on 2. And Most Wanted, I mean, this is very one-sided. Despair would have killed Transonics there, by the way, if he had that bounce. I guarantee it.
If he had hit it, he
Transonics was probably like clinching his butt there, just like, oh, thank God it didn't hit.
Well, Transonics, you can relax. That is the second ricochet that has been missed, but not going to be able to find all the trick shots this time.
Oh,
but
brutal.
StormyRays taking quite a bit of damage from the Naja ultimate, crashing down, and then Thunder crashing away, but it's not going to be enough. Cloud going to be able to find the kill because he fell right into the ultimate.
That kill is worth a ton. 5, 0, and 7 was Wolves. Left-hand side, the one, actually 1v2. Despair trying to juke out right now. Doesn't have a lot of mana. Terra chasing him around. He needs one ricochet to kill Transonics. Can't get the cooldown off in time. And the gank is successful as Most Wanted just continuously trounce every single lane. From game 1 to game 2, no one has been able to match Most Wanted.
Uzzy rotating back over, but not really going to find anything here but creep. We're 11 minutes, 45 seconds in, 3 to 14, 12,000 experience in favor of Most Wanted, 6,000 gold.
You can just go back to that invade. Last game, it was the Gold Fury that SoaR just barely misplayed. They were very close to making an even game, just a little bit early.
Chapo dashing into 2 members, tried to get away, but Matt Koiz is going to be able to find him, and that's going to be the ultimate spent as well.
And it just feels like SoaR, instead of settling down, regrouping, and going, okay, what is going wrong for us? Where can we adjust? They just keep trying to force things. From game 1 to game 2, they're like, we're behind. We have to get ahead somewhere. Let's force it. And they just aren't winning. And it's a great job by Most Wanted, knowing exactly what SoaR's doing in every situation and just responding, just being there first.
Uzzy cut off with the Odin ultimate, going to be good there. StormyRays in the back line, trying to get a little bit of damage coming up, but here comes Naja with the blink and the ult. There he goes. So much damage, trying to get into the Taiko drums just to save himself, but it's not going to be enough. He's so close to dying. The Thunder Crash is away though. Wolves
barely dies here. xCynosurex no ultimate as well. You can see the rest of Most Wanted rotating in. Brochacho's already taken out xCynosurex. SoaR, this is a great fight for them, but they need to escape. They already got the 2 Bics. Unfortunately, Uzzy is a little bit caught off. Still 2 for 1. I love that. SoaR taking advantage of Most Wanted getting way too over aggressive. We saw the 2 versus 4 invade on the right-hand side. And this is what happened with xCynosurex last game as well, where he dove into that mid tower against the Odin, got caged in and picked off. However, that ended up helping him because we saw him actually start to tone it back a little bit and play a lot safer. Probably going to be the same thing here. Most Wanted have such a huge lead. They don't really need to be aggressive and force these 2v4s. They could just play standard Smite and snowball their experience lead.
So I'm catching myself in a little bit of deja vu because I wanted to say we need more plays like that coming out of SoaR. And I know I said that last game. It feels like almost a repeat.
It's less about SoaR making plays and more about them abusing Most Wanted's mistakes. Most Wanted are very confident right now. They dominated game 1. They have that same mindset heading into game 2. And they also have continued that pressure where they have that 6K gold lead. But now starting to dive towers. xCynosurex, if he has crit online there, or like a Deathbringer, he probably just flat out kills StormyRays, but that was under a tier 2. The rest of SoaR around, they had the Guan as well. So just going a little bit too hard and playing it instead of playing it safe.
Here comes Naja, they're looking for it. Uzzy gonna get caught up in the Odin ultimate once again. As soon as they see that ult, The other one gets answered back. Tycho drums in the mid lane, but he's whiffing, can't really find it, and Clow gonna survive and throw down the ultimate, but just barely.
He's actually juking out completely. He's got the speed buff on his shoulder. Wolves takes out Uzzy on the right-hand side. Somehow Clow gets out, and he finds Chapo. The last second of the stacks. The detonate's good, and Most Wanted are just running through SoaR right now. SoaR try and force the issue. You could see Most Wanted putting 3 members on the right-hand side. Clow with the speed buff didn't even have the winged blade. Instead, that's one of the biggest weaknesses of Raijin. And it's very similar to Ymir since he plants himself when he uses his abilities. You can actually just get very close and kind of run around in a circle. And so it's so hard to kind of get that really quick movement. That's exactly what happened. I think StormyRays might have hit one ability, but then it just goes back to also, just look at the experience difference. Zeus was 5 levels higher than the people trying to gank him, 6 levels looking at xCynosurex.
I mean, it was pretty nasty looking on, but they put the pressure, they got the kills they were looking for, and they took down the tier 2 tower over on the solo side. Now they can focus all their attacks, all the rest of their congregating on the other side, especially now as they congregate around xCynosurex. StormyRays gonna get credit for that kill. They all grouped up, able to find it.
Oh, we actually probably could have saw Most Wanted rotate it. Wolves is still here. Wolves is like, if Cloud did it, I can do it too. The issue is he has no mana. xBalanque gonna ult to help guarantee that he gets out there, but so Most Wanted, we've actually seen them now repeatedly making mistakes. Cloud left alone in mid, but SoaR just unable to really capitalize. They're trying to force every single kill they can right now when they have the numbers advantage, but right there, Cloud just way too much burst. How did Stormy...
How did Stormy die?
How did
Stormy die?
Was he at the edge of the lightning storm and then got like 2 stacked for half his life?
Yes, he did. He got so quickly erased, and now Wolves going to be able to bring Uzzy off the map as well. That was poor positioning coming out from StormyRays. He was in on that. He was using the Tycho drums. At that point, you're more focused on trying to mow somebody down, and he got mowed down himself.
This is just like a farm fest. Like, Most Wanted are padding stats at this point. 8,700 gold at 16 minutes. Exact same situation here. No Gold Fury still needed in game 2 here. Second Gold Fury going to go the way of Most Wanted, extending their lead to nearly 10K, a little bit over 10K, 10,500. And
I mean, gold is nice.
This has been brutal.
Gold is nice, but I feel like it's more just denying SoaR Gaming the opportunity here. Yeah, but Naja bringing him up into the air, waiting to crash on down with that ultimate as well. Here comes the blink coming out from xCynosurex. I thought he'd used it earlier, but that was my bad. StormyRays now being brought into the air. Sanctuary is now down. Wolves takes out Chapo, and now StormyRays going to be the biggest point there. But the Thunder Crash over the wall going to give him to safety for now.
For now, Wolves still chasing in. He's going to blink forward. xCynosure's already been taken out by Clow here. Wolves finishes off StormyRays. Clow, he's going to live again, isn't he? There's no way. Despair trying to pick up anything he can. Clow able to lifesteal up just a little bit. I think there might have been a meditation at that point as well. No, not even a meditation. That's just lifesteal coming out of that Pythagorean's piece. 26-7 in kills. This is almost an 18-minute game. Phoenixes are being sieged. It's been a complete bloodbath. And there is no, like, a lot of times I try and give teams hope. I'm like, well, they could do this to win.
Typhoon coming in, Chapo gonna find Koiz in the background. He's gonna find Clow too. Good taunt coming out, gonna get xCynosurex a little bit displaced, but Chapo not gonna be able to take down Wolves by himself.
Chapo still trying to be aggressive here. He does have xCynosurex, but decides to dash away, and this is what SoaR needs to continue doing. Just don't focus on trying to force plays or force the issue. Instead, pick off Most Wanted. The main issue is they haven't been able to capitalize on Clow. They've done a great job at Phoenixes and Towers, locking people in with cages when they try and go over aggressive. Looking at Wolves and xCynosurex more than anyone, xCynosurex having 5 deaths, but we see them try to focus out Clow and a lot of these fights as well, but they try and 3-on-1, but Clow is just so far ahead, he's actually able to just outplay them completely. Not only live, but also turn around and get kills. And if SoaR Gaming had been able to capitalize a little bit more efficiently on their picks on Clow, this is probably a much closer game. This is probably only a 6 to 5K lead.
I mean, you ain't kidding though when it comes to Clow. He's dancing and dishing out death, doing everything he can. Good two-man taunt coming out from Chacho. Koiz kind of stuck in the backline, can't really do anything here. They're all trying to turn on xCynosurex though. Tycho drums, StormyRays gonna find that last note.
Once again, SoaR abusing the lack of numbers for Most Wanted, but now they've got to retreat. They got their kill. Transonics going really deep, already taken out one. Looking for Despair as well. They're all lined up, but immediately stunned out. SoaR, great job picking off these individual targets, making mistakes. I thought this game was out of control, but Most Wanted still making these mistakes repeatedly, splitting up, and they're not getting away with them as much as they used to.
The blink, Chapo tried to get away, charging up the Typhoon, but Chapo has barely a lick of health left. He's gonna activate that Sanctuary, but it's eventually going to fall. Wolves gonna be able to find it. Good sticking to him.
This is a great job of SoaR. It's so unfortunate, because if they had been able to capitalize and kill Clow the couple times they tried to pick him off, this is realistically a game they can come back into. And Most Wanted have been repeatedly making mistakes. We're seeing them kind of try and like 1v5, right? Try and just jump in like, I'm gonna make this big play. No, I'm gonna make this big play. No, I'm gonna make this big play. And so they're in a situation where they're allowed to do that, but in another 5 to 10 minutes, if they keep this up and don't force a Phoenix or a Fire Giant, SoaR will start to climb back into this one.
I think the biggest problem coming out from SoaR is when they win these engagements, they have nothing to capitalize on. Gold Fury has been down. They can't really take the Fire Giant without risk of it being stolen. So they have nothing to capitalize and try to further their lead for.
Right now, they're just trying to find people by themselves. StormyRay Thunder crashing there, that could be a little bit dangerous, but it doesn't seem like Most Wanted had noticed it. Instead, a little bit more worried about Uzzy pushing up into the front line. Most Wanted, they're waiting on Transonics right now, who's getting the red buff. And this is the first time we're going to see Most Wanted as all 5 players in probably the past 12 minutes.
Athena channeling in the ultimate to go ahead and dash on in. Uzzy caught in the ultimate. Transonics going to get credit for that kill. Tycho drums, but he's already being targeted. Thunder crash away, but Wolves hasn't used his jump yet. He's going to turn around, let Transonics clean up, which he definitely will. And now Chapo going to be looked at.
He's going to be picked off here too. Waiting and waits for him is going to be Wolves. One more hit. The detonate stack should secure as well. Not sure if Clow has that off cooldown, but the jump guarantees it anyway. Brotacho a little bit too slow, and that's going to be 4-4-1. Koiz the only picked off. And finally, Most Wanted just recognize, all right, let's stop getting picked off. Instead, let's group. They win the team fight cleanly, and now they can start sieging up these big objectives.
That's exactly what you were talking about, though. I'm watching Chapo. He dashes forward, try to get a little bit of damage. As soon as he realizes he doesn't whiff on anything, like the attacks bounce off of their chest, he backs off. He just wants to do every little bit of poke, but he can't do anything against this onslaught. 2 Phoenixes now down.
I mean, Cloud's level 19. I think Chapo's 13, 14, maybe. Okay, so he's 15, so he's starting to get up there, but he's gone for the Winged Blade option, which, while is great for helping his survivability, doesn't help the lack of damage. Clow is just a little bit too tanky. He's got a Winged Blade of his own that he just backed and completed. Also working on the Rod of Tahuti, has the helmet as well. Dynasty play. He's just too tanky for a Susano 4 levels below him to just 100-0. So he's got to rely on his team. Most Wanted made a lot of mistakes in the mid game, just kind of splitting up and trying to just play very aggro, very aggressive, very, arena full-on brawl style, which kind of helped them out in a lot of situations where we saw them get leads everywhere. But once Most Wanted or SoaR started to pick that off, immediately Most Wanted just go, okay, let's group as 5. And now it's going to be even harder for SoaR to fight into this, that Most Wanted are playing as a team.
Fire Giant getting looked at, already starting to fall. Wolves doing a fantastic job of zoning, but Chapo going to be able to break the defenses and come around the corner. It looks like that's going to be completely leashed. They want to go ahead and try to find this
Terra
fight.
ult.
Here comes the Terra ult, Naja ult as well. 9 Suns coming down from Despair, plus the Sanctuary, but here comes the Storm.
Ooh, Despair caught in the back line. He's going to see Clow one-on-one, misses the stun, and the detonate's good enough to secure. Wolves chasing out Stormy on the left-hand side, while the rest of the team cleans up all of SoaR on the right. Brotacho falls. Chapo just trying to run for all he can right now, and just a complete read. Doesn't even matter that the damage doesn't go through. The cage is in order. I mean, Stormy probably could have just turned right just as that jump went through and Thunder crashed away, but I mean, that's just knowing your opponent front to back. Chapo just wasting time right now, which is kind of good if you can get out, but it's not going to happen. Mid and right Phoenix are down. Fire minions pushing up. It's only Uzzy left alive. All 5 dead. Deicide, Most Wanted. One of the most convincing sweeps we've seen the SCL this split against a former top contender in SoaR.
Yeah, I mean, they're really starting to come back where we saw them at the last split. A very solid showing from the previous first seed.
Most Wanted are really reliant, I think, on their mechanics. Just each one of their players is so good. And so they have this really raw style where they just like to fight. They like to outplay you, which is especially important in smaller situations, 1v1s, 2v2s, 3v3s. That's where your mechanic shines, because a lot of times that's just you outplaying. Once the full 5-on-5 comes, it's a lot more teamwork, a lot more tactical, utilizing your ults win, you know, utilizing your relics. But SoaR tried to fight into Most Wanted by playing Most Wanted style, and they were just able to outplay them in every sense of the manner. So,
question. We saw it in the first game. Where was that tipping point where Most Wanted really just grabbed the lead?
Gold Fury. The Gold Fury for sure. I think in game one we saw SoaR still brawl, but actually be able to win a little bit back. They would lose 2 and then get 1, and then just that's just the timing on the Ice Assault. I mean, all that is StormyRays' inexperience on the God. That's all it is, right? If he plays Isis more consistently, if he plays mid lane more consistently, he's going to know when he's supposed to pop that circle protection, when he's supposed to lay it down. He just did it a little bit too early for the damage they had at the time.
They should have done homework. You don't give Clow Zeus. Every game they've played with Zeus, they have won, and we see it in all of these plays. The objective steals, the kill securing.
You know, I don't even know if it's Zeus. It's just you can't leave Clow alone when he's on Zeus. And he just was able to free cast in all those scenarios. And by the time they tried to kill him in game 2, he was so far ahead, and he just had that speed buff and was able to juke around and just completely destroy them. That was a brutal 1v3, by the way. That was so poor Stormy. Poor Stormy just misses all 4 hits. Maybe he connected 1 there, but just Zeus with speed buff running around him in circles.
But here are the standings. We had the double headers. Unfortunately, Kingdom Esports couldn't, they had to forfeit their games. But Most Wanted netting 6 points today for themselves.
Huge day for them. Obviously, Eager with their 2-0 over Aware earlier helps them out significantly. Aware got off to a really strong start, and I think this Eager, Aware, Most Wanted trio is what's going to become really scary. SoaR definitely still working on some things. They're not going to be ready for at least a couple more weeks, and I think it's got to come down to Chapo and Stormy getting their synergy on point.
Any final thoughts coming out between any of the teams we've seen today?
No, I think we're just going to have a really exciting fall split where we saw Most Wanted pretty much dominate in the summer. Very few games they dropped, and I think it's going to be a little bit more closer. And I'm excited to see this Aware team as well and kind of how they switch up the dynamic.
Awesome. Well, you can see more Smite action tomorrow. We have the EU teams coming up for a triple header starting at 11 a.m. EST, Eastern Standard Time. But from everybody here, all the casters, everybody in the back from hi-rez, and of course, Peckies. We thank you for watching. See you again tomorrow.
Could be the sunset, or just the look in your eyes that shines so bright. Reach out over the ocean waves and try to come to life. Darling, bright blue sky, the kiss of features looking for tonight. Hi-rez, for beyond our ship to set sail, carry me through the starry night. Dream of me whenever you are feeling oh so lonely. Try to leave your fears behind. We are locked in an orbit racing around the rocks with lonely worlds that make collide. Keep your eyes on mine. Touchdown on the surface of my heart. Feelings ever gone. A brave adventurer like me. Memories everywhere that I've come from.